WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, tasting, often for me at least, rare and exotic whiskeys. I was in the States in August 2024. I brought some bottles back to Germany, and today I have the Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. 94%, 94 proof, 47% ABV. So we have here a Whiskybase number 164468. Now, dear Elijah Craig, I feel over here in Germany a little bit neglected. So we have two products that we get over here. The first product we get over here from Elijah Craig is the standard Elijah Craig, and that's going to be my bottle to compare with here. 47%, somewhere between 32 and 38 euros is what I'm going to pay for this bottle. I'm not complaining about availability. I'm not complaining about price. Of the Elijah Craig barrel proofs that are 3 a year, we get 1 on average. So at least we get 1. Thank you very much. And that's it. We don't see anything else. Now, the Elijah Craig the Elijah Craig family has a lot more products. Yeah, so you forget about us a little bit here with your whole product line. And that is just something that makes me a tiny little bit, I'm going to use the word sad. So, because you actually have here the 18-year-old, which, okay, we can just forget that. But yes, it's there. It's part of the world. Nice to know, but hey, we don't have the toasted barrel over here. It's been around since the fall of 2020. It's been 4 years now. We still haven't seen it. The rye, we've never seen the rye from Elijah Craig over here ever. Let alone, I didn't even in America see the toasted rye from Elijah Craig. So we have the normal, we have the barrel proof, we don't have the toasted barrel, we don't have the rye, we don't have the toasted rye, and as many of you say, well, I don't see the 18 either. Well, neither do I. All right, I have tried the 18, I have tried the old 23, I think there was a 21 in between there or so on. But just the core range, at least the rye, and then as a bonus, maybe a little bit of the toasted rye and the toasted barrel every once in a while, that'd be great. So just complaining and just begging a little bit here for more products from Elijah Craig. Now, your importer, Borco, over here in Germany, is doing a good job. They're at a lot of different whiskey fairs. They're promoting this. The availability is good. I'm not at all, stay with that importer at least, but a little bit more of the core range products from Heaven Hill would be nice. All right, so what is the toasted? The toasted is basically this, char number 3, age, no age statement. So it used to be between, let's say, 4 and 8 years of age. I know, we used to be 12 years, all right? So the barrel proof still has the 12-year-old age, had the 12-year-old statement. They went to 13, they went to 11. All right, good. This used to be 12, then it dropped down to no age statement. Let's say this is 8 to 10-year-old whiskey in here. I'm going to go for 8 probably. So let's say this is 8-year-old whiskey, and what they do is they put it in a second heavily toasted, lightly charred cask. Now, why lightly charred? It's toasted barrel, Jason. Can't they just toast it? Well, there's something called the bourbon regulations, and the bourbon regulations stipulate that all bourbon can only be matured in new charred oak containers. Just use the word barrel instead of containers. New charred oak. So now, if you, for example, take this nice little bottle over here, I could have pulled out the Angel's Envy that everything started with, but this is Legend. And it says Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, partially finished, wine and sherry casks. This was a creation with Japan, so Legend belongs to Jim Beam. Beam belongs to Suntory Spirits Global, or Suntory Global Spirits, and it's a Japanese company. Beam is Japanese, all right? So even though the people in Kentucky might not mention it, but it's owned by Japanese, all right? And when we start putting bourbon into a finishing cask that is not new charred oak, we're breaking our own rules. Now, you say, hey, Jason, don't worry. We can bend the rules wherever we want. Well, we have a certain protection of the category bourbon. And if we ourselves don't respect those rules, then there might be other countries in the world that say, hey, we're not going to respect your bourbon laws. which means maybe Canada, maybe Japan, maybe Germany, maybe India, maybe someplace else will start making bourbon. And then Discus is going to come and try to sue them. And they say, no, you're not respecting your own, you're breaking your own laws. It's no longer a protected product. We can make it whatever we want. I don't think that will happen next year, but in the next 10 years, who knows? And so I request, as many other bourbon connoisseurs out there, that we create a special finished product category in the U.S. whiskey regulations. So we protect our real bourbon versus these finished Kentucky straight bourbon or straight bourbon products. Now, this would actually still be considered a bourbon. Why? Because it's a new charred oak container. Now, they did a nice heavy toast beforehand, but they did a flash char, which means the shortest amount of char possible in order to fulfill the regulations. Char means actually setting something on fire and actually charring the inside of the wood. Now, I explained this over in Germany this way. Imagine you're at a campfire, you have marshmallows. I always used to put my marshmallow on the stick beside the flame, made it nice and lightly tanned brown, and then it was inside it was a little almost liquid, and then I would eat. My sister, she would put it in the flame, pull it out, it was on fire, 1, 2, 3, and it was black. That's char. Char means charcoal on the inside. You burnt that surface area. Toasted, not burnt. Just like hopefully your toast in the toaster is not black when it comes out, but rather a tan, brown, beige, nice color. All right, so this saw 2 new barrels, one of them char 3, one of them heavily toasted, lightly charred with that flash char. I don't want to say charge. Char, C-H-A-R. Okay, on the nose, Elijah Craig, which I really like. I might have primed myself, but I got that marshmallow moment here. A little bit more of a spice and a little bit more of a wood moment. If I were to rank the Elijah Craig products, I actually did over here just a couple of months ago. I had 6 different Elijah Craig barrel proofs. We did a blind tasting. We had what was the A319, the B9, is it the B6? Yeah, the B6 or the B9, whatever, the C12. We had 6 different barrel proof Elijah, sent out samples. We did a live tasting online. It was one of my best tastings I've ever done. I love Elijah Craig barrel proof. Bam. Position number 2 in my life at the moment is still the Kentucky Straight Bourbon standard product, 47%. So I have tried the rye, but I think I like the toasted barrel better. The rye, and I've never even seen the toasted rye, so I can't say anything about that. I'm going to put the 18 and the 23 below those 2 products. Why, Jason? Because 1, the value for money is absolutely atrocious, and 2, they were over-oaked, both of them. Way too over-oaked. And I do not love over-oaked products, all right? So just way too much astringency, way too much oak tannins. And so older definitely does not mean better in my book, especially with bourbons and ryes that have been aged in new charred oak barrels. Whew, that was a rant, wasn't it? All right, 47% ABV, 94 proof. So everything, okay, the toasted rye, the toasted barrel, and the standard are all 94 proof, 47% ABV. Just the barrel proof is above. And there's hardly anything in the world that can beat the Elijah Craig barrel proof for value for money for taste. Booker's never. What was it? Jack Daniel's single barrel proof some days. Stag, usually not. There's some stags that are fantastic and some stags are just okay. Elijah Craig barrel proof has a consistency that I just adore. Cheers. A lot of astringency as well, a lot of oak. Now, there's some great toasted oak products out there. Penelope toasted oak, our Rye 3 toasted oak, Michter's toasted oak. There are some other people who have done toasted oak, which I just can't think of at the moment. Fabulous, fabulous products. I usually love them all. My problem is I have a little bit of bias towards the normal Elijah Craig here. There is cinnamon, there is allspice, there is baking spices, there's vanilla, but there's a whole lot of oak going on in here. Is it over oak? No. Is it on the threshold of my personal preference? Yes. 47%, absolutely fine, just great. Now this was my calibration, my control whiskey before I did the video. I think this is finally the ultimate comparison, all right? So you can't get better than this, I think. Well, maybe Elijah Craig barrel proof 6 different versions with each other. That'd be even better. Less wood, more sweetness, a little bit more of a pecan moment that I had here. If I were to judge the two of these and compare them, this comes out on top. This is a B- B whiskey today. This is a B- C+ whiskey today. The astringency, the tannins are just a little over what I like and I prefer. Now, Jason, how can you say that? The toasted barrel costs $50 and this costs $30. Well, better, more expensive doesn't necessarily mean better either. I'm going to ask 2 questions. Question number one is, what is your favorite toasted barrel product? The Penelope Toasted was really good. And number 2, you're going to buy a bourbon. It's not going to cost more than $30-some, $35. Which one do you choose? So I would always go to, I can get for 32 euros still the Eagle Rare 10. So I would go for the Eagle Rare, but I know you can't get it. Buffalo Trace, Elijah Craig, Knob Creek. What standard product would you just go out there and say, hey, if you haven't tried bourbon, try this? And I think Elijah Craig actually belongs in that list way up top. Maybe not the very first position, but in the top 5 bourbons that I would recommend to any new bourbon drinker to have in your shelves, buy, and you will not regret it. So what bourbon under $35, $40 can you buy that you will say, I will never regret buying that, and I'll go out and buy a new bottle if I have the chance? Toasted, good, but hey, more oak. Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, telling others, and sharing this video with those that you want to impress. See you real soon. Whiskey Jason, bye-bye.